Hello everyone, my name is Chloe and today I am here with a brand new video. Welcome to Brunette Bibliophile, where I post bookish videos and writing content. Today I am here to talk about everything that I read during the month of November. I read so many things this month and we are going to talk about everything. It is a lot to wrap up, so we are going to dive right in and go ahead and get started. We have 15 things we're talking about today. Some of this I feel like I read so long ago because the month has felt so long. Let's go ahead and jump in with the first couple of things that I read. I was able to read and complete volumes 3, 4, and 5 of The Remarried Empress. I did not give any of these graphic novels a rating because I find graphic novels harder to rate, but I feel like I'm just casually enjoying this series. I've read all of the editions that are out. I know there is more that is currently available on Webtoons, but I just haven't found time to continue on reading with that. And I really like reading the physical bind-up editions. I am really interested to see what else is going to happen, and without any spoilers, the Empress is really dumb sometimes. She's very smart, but also really dumb. Volume 6 I think comes out sometime in December, so hopefully I'll be able to get that from the library very soon. Next, I had a reread this month, which was for A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. My group of friends at work and I began rereading the series a couple of months ago with the graphic audio editions, and we had to wait for this one to come out because it wasn't fully out yet, but we were finally able to pick it up with graphic audio, and it is so good. I love using the graphic audio versions of audiobooks with these books, and I'm giving this one 4.5 stars. I can't remember if that's the same rating that I gave it previously, but that's the rating that I'm giving it now. I'm also just now noticing that my lipstick matches the cover of the book, which was not planned. Next, I picked up The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana, and this was a book that I was finishing from my October TBR, and I had started it in October. I'm giving this one 4 stars. This is my first book from this author. I've heard good things about the book. I do like the overall cozy witchiness of it, and I would also say that it is a cozy fantasy. There's a little bit of romance in there, but it's not the central focus of the book, but it's just an overall cozy book, and I enjoyed it. I think it's an enjoyable read. Next, I read another book that kind of came over from my October TBR, which was Too Late by Colleen Hoover. Overall, when I compare this one to Verity, which is an extremely crazy psychological thriller, this one does have thriller elements and it is fucked up, but to me it's not very thrillery until the second half of the book. Let's just say that there are a lot of red flags throughout this entire book, and while I did want to know what was happening, I feel like it wasn't as bingeable as Verity is, or at least how Verity was for me. Overall, I gave this one 4 stars. I am still looking forward to any thriller that Colleen Hoover puts out in the future. Next, I picked up one of my Book of the Month picks, and it was You Again by Kate Goldbeck. I've heard a lot of great things about this book. It definitely has a little bit of Adam Driver codedness to it, and it's definitely a fall read. This is a very modern day retelling of When Harry Met Sally, which is a movie that I recently watched within the past year. I enjoyed it, but not as much as I thought I would. It's still a really enjoyable romance, and I would be interested to see what else this author releases in the future. But I didn't give it 5 stars like I was kind of hoping I would. It did end up as a 4.5 star read though. Next, I read Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco, and this was the BookTube Chicks book club pick for the month of November. I will link our live show in the description below so you can get more of my thoughts, as well as Kathleen from For the Love of Books and Desiree from Libri Labra. I'm not going to talk about it too much here. Overall, I did not enjoy this book very much. I think I had good hopes going into it because I've heard great things about the rest of the books in the series, but ultimately I did not end up enjoying this one. The main character is very dumb, which we go in depth on in the live show, but ultimately I just gave this one 2 stars, and I'm kind of bummed that I didn't enjoy it more. Check out our live show linked in the description below to get the full discussion. Next, I picked up a book that is so many people's anticipated read for 2023, and it was Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. This was a highly anticipated release as I was reading Fourth Wing just last month, and I really enjoyed this one. So much happened. I had so many moments where my jaw had just dropped with what was going on, and I'm very excited for book 3, whenever that's gonna come out. The cliffhanger did not hit like I expected it to, just because there was the bomb drop, and then there was one additional chapter after. If it had been the bomb drop and that was the end of the book, it probably would have hit way more. But there is a bit of a cliffhanger. And we still have 3 more books in the series to go. Overall, 5 stars. I'm very excited for the next book. Again, whenever that may come out, because who knows? There were so many printing issues with this book and misprints and everything that I'm sure there will be a little bit of a longer timeline for the third book. Next, I picked up a memoir, which doesn't happen very often for me, but it is Counting the Cost by Jill Duggar. This is one of the Duggar children who has kind of stepped back and realized that the IBLP Gothard teachings is a cult, essentially. So I did not give this book a rating, but a couple of the things that I wrote down associated with this book is that Jill is a lot more reflecting on the negative aspects of IBLP more than her sister Ginger Duggar's book did. Now, Ginger's book I never finished. I DNF'd it because it felt like she was trying to find reasons for various things that happened. Jill is much more reflective of how it affected her and the issues and the negatives that are associated with IBLP. Now, she also was interviewed during a documentary called Smiling Happy People, which I watched with my husband shortly after it came out, and it also exposes a lot of the different aspects of IBLP. So I was very interested to hear more of her thoughts through this book after watching the documentary. It's not an exposing memoir, but it is still very eye-opening. It doesn't sound like she has completely abandoned her family, which I wasn't really expecting, but it does talk about a lot of negative things that happened throughout her childhood and even up into adulthood. So no rating for this one, but I did enjoy listening to the audiobook. Next, I read a short story, which is Veronica Ruiz Breaks the Bank by El Casamano, and this is a short little prequel novella to the Finlay Donovan series following Vero. I enjoyed this little prequel. It was only a 2-hour audiobook, but it really gives insight into who Vero was pre-Finlay. Overall, I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, and it's just a nice little prequel. Next, I picked up another Book of the Month book, and it is Hello Stranger by Catherine Center. This is only my second book by this author, but we're following a character who ends up with a form of face blindness, where she can see everything, but her brain has problems putting faces together. I do think the face blindness was definitely an interesting plot point, especially because our main character is a portrait artist. And I enjoyed this one more than the previous book that I read by her. The ending of this romance was hilariously stupid, and there was an unexpected miscommunication trope that I wasn't expecting. Overall, I enjoyed listening to this one, and I gave it 4 stars. Then I managed to read another Book of the Month pick, and it is really good actually, by Monica Heisey. And this was for my buzzword challenge this month, where the buzzword was good, and this was the only option I had. So this is a story of divorce and also finding who our main character is without her husband. And honestly, for me, the story was just overall okay. It's a contemporary story, not really a romance. She's going through a hardship, but she also, I don't really know how to explain it. She was going through a hardship, but also was just making dumb decisions, which I guess is a part of her grieving process. So I just gave this one 3 stars. I was definitely interested in seeing if I enjoyed it. It was narrated by Julia Whalen, who I really enjoy, but overall it was just a 3-star book for me. And then I picked up a sequel, which was I'm Engaged to Mothman by Paige Lavoie. This is the second book in the Mothman in Love series, and we get a deeper look into Mothman's past in this book. I did not enjoy this one as much as I did the first one. And before I go any farther, the first book, which is I'm in Love with Mothman, was actually the quarterly romance book pick for our 3rd quarter this year. So I will link our live show in the description below. We were joined by Allie from Hardback Hoarder, who I will also link in the description below, and we had a really good conversation. I also had an e-arc of this book, so I did write a Goodreads review, which I will link in the description below as well if you want to check that out. Overall, I gave this one 3.5 stars. There is a 3rd and final book coming out in 2024, and I do anticipate reading it. I just wish I had enjoyed this one a little bit more. It did take me a little bit to read, and that's not the book's fault, that's a my fault thing. Instead of having cottagecore vibes, it has royalcore vibes, which is in the synopsis. But again, it was a 3.5 star. I'm excited for the final book, but it was just an okay read for me. And then the last book I completed, I actually squeezed this one in last minute. So you're going to see this on my December TBR because I was trying to get a head start and I ended up finishing it during November. And it is The Holiday Switch by Tiff Marcello. So this is a short little young adult book set in this town that's very Christmas themed. It's called Holly, and it's supposedly in New York, and it was the setting or the filming location of a very popular Christmas movie from the 90s. This also, I think, was just an overall okay read. I feel like I had a bunch of like just okay things the last little bit of the month. There's a lot of holiday puns and metaphors, which is to be expected because of this town. And overall, I think it was a cute slice of life story, but ultimately just okay. I think I really only like hurried to pick it up this month because it's holiday themed and I'm trying to read a bunch of holiday books this month. But overall, I'm giving it 3 stars and it was just okay. And that is everything that I picked up during the month of November. I finished a total of 15 different items this month, which is crazy, but I'm trying to cram a lot of my last minute challenges that I haven't finished yet. So that is all I have for my November wrap up. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. As always, if you like what you see here, please go ahead and click subscribe. I post new videos every week, so click subscribe so you can be updated for when I post those. And make sure you leave an emoji in the comments to let me know that you watched this video. Thank you all so much, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!
In the darkness, I don't feel so cold. The ashes fall like rain, and somehow we're okay. A story drifts between shadows and smoke.